Yo guys, it's Dayso. My goal is to go from 0 to $1 million and I document my journey on this channel. Currently, we are at 0.001% of that goal. But it might change because today we are going to attack a serious subject, which is strategizing the product we are going to sell in order to boost our revenue. So without further ado, let's start. Alright, we are at my desk, and before going into the main subject, we have to see how our channel performed in the past days. So I'm gonna go on YouTube Studio, and here we are. So I'm going to go on content. We can see that I already have a video prepared, and our last one I tried to do something different. So the thumbnail, I put my face, which is unusual for that channel because it is the first time I do it, and so I put my face on the thumbnail, but personally I do not think it looks that amazing. Well, to be honest, I think it looks completely awful. So I plan on changing it, and I got a bit lazy. The description is not so great, I have to admit. The video is amazing though. I do think that the new way of doing things is great. And by the way, if you want to see how I made that video and the strategy behind all that, I document everything in the past 2 videos. Alright, but how did it perform? So we're going to go on analytics, and not so great. We got 6 views and we got 0.3 hour of watch time. But if I go to reach, we can see that we only got 16 impressions, which means that YouTube completely ghosted my video. I do not understand why that's a thing, because the way YouTube works is YouTube will take my video and show the video to my core audience, so the people that follow me the most. And if the video performs well to them, then YouTube is going to expand the scope of potential people who could watch my video, and so it pushes my video to more people. But here, I do not understand, because it worked well with my core audience and then it stopped. But I don't know, maybe it is related to the fact that it is the first time I show my face on that channel. I changed the style. Maybe the AI of YouTube has decided that my video had to be trusted and I need to build my trust score back. Anyways, it's a game of consistency, so we are going to continue to post until it works. I'm still trying to find some ways to speed up that process, because this is gonna be really long and really slow. But overall, our other videos performed better. We can see that the one before the video I just showed got 22 views, and the one before 91. We got 9 on this one. It got 1 more view since the last time I showed it. And top 7 crypto tax heaven, which is my best video so far, 137 views. That's great. But anyways, the plan with that channel is not to get millions and millions of views, because we are never going to get them. Well, if it happens, I take it, but I don't think it will happen, because it is a niche channel. And because if you want to make money with YouTube ads, you need a lot of views, our channel is not going to be profitable. So we need to find another way to make money with our channel, and that way is to build products and sell them to our audience. But what products are we going to sell? And this is what we're going to see right now. Alright, so in the first video we made about that channel, which is You Should Crypto, we talked about the strategy, the main strategy of the channel, and I explained you everything in detail in this diagram. In the video that followed, we worked on this tab, which is the action plan, the concrete way we are going to apply what we strategized on. So this is what I showed in the last video, and it is basically the full process of making a video. Now, I think I already said that. But today we are going to go down, because I improved that diagram and I added a monetization tab with the potential product offer I found, my favorite picks, and I elaborated on them. But first we are going to go right at the start. So my product offer. As of now, the main goal of proposing a product to the audience is so that I can create a treasury or having a consistent income stream, so I can scale my operations. As of now, making videos takes a lot of time, and time I put into making videos is time I cannot put in something that brings more money. And I cannot dump the video process, because this is the backbone of the business model. We gather people around the subject, which is crypto, and we use our channel for that. And then from the channel, I redirect the viewers into an offer they might like, and this is how we make money. So I can't dump the channel, because, well, it's the start of everything. So we need revenue, and for that I had 2 ideas. So basically we have 2 types of products. we have the B2B and the B2C. What are B2B and what are B2C? Well, it is fairly simple and easy to understand. B2B stands for business to business. So basically, I am a business and I am going to sell a product to another business. And B2C stands for business to consumer, and consumers are individuals. So it could be you watching the video, or it could be me when I watch a video on YouTube. And this is important to know because there is going to be a clear distinction in the type of product you are going to sell. You cannot sell the same product to a business and to an individual. Now, there is one option I do prefer, and it is B2B. Now, why is that? Well, oftentimes businesses do have money in reserve, and sometimes businesses have to spend money. It makes sense for them to spend money. And if you come at the right time, well, you might be able to capture that liquidity. So first reason, business have less friction when it comes to paying. Second reason, because they're businesses and they have revenue, they can pay a higher price, which is positive for us because it increases our revenue. And that's pretty much it. The only downside I can see is that you have to provide a quality product, but this is the same for consumers, so it is not that big of an issue. You just have to be comfortable with the corporate layer. Alright, so right under B2B, I wrote my product idea, and the idea I had is to merge the content I make on the Daiso channel, so the channel you're watching right now, and the You Should Crypto channel to create a product. And so basically I would help crypto project with their marketing. It sounds nice, but I had a lot of ideas, and I am not going to give extensive explanation on all of them. I'm just going to explain in detail my favorite picks, and they are here. We can see I have 3, and it's a pretty long explanation, so you're gonna be happy. Alright, moving on to B2C, because I only had one idea for B2B. Alright, the generic things. I had the idea to sell objects, so merch. And one idea I had is to launch a gym clothing line called Proof of Work. Now, for those who know about Bitcoin, you're gonna find it funny, but unfortunately, those who are not familiar with Bitcoin are not going to understand. And this is very sad because this is hilarious. Alright, but let's stay focused on the sales side. I have zero intention of selling physical products as of now, and that is for a few reasons. First, the idea I had do not solve a deep need. You can get merch from anywhere, and if I sell products who are really related to crypto, like a hardware wallet, it might be more complex because if there are security breaches, then I am responsible for it. Alright, another problem is that because I have to manufacture products and then I have to ship them, this increases the cost of production, and so I have smaller margins, and so I have less money in my pocket. Plus, merch is often sold cheap, so I have to sell to a lot of people, and my channel is very niche, and so I don't have a lot of people watching my videos. So you can clearly see that this does not match. Then I have to handle the production, which is a hassle, and I have to handle shipping, same thing. So for physical objects, this is a no-go for now. Now, next idea, I put it in the category which is called purely crypto. And I had 2 main ideas. The first one is to launch a coin to raise money, and the second one is to do affiliation with exchanges. Now let me explain what those things are. Launching a coin is basically creating your own cryptocurrency, and people buy it, and then you have a stack you can sell, and so you can raise quite a bit of money that way. But the problem is that there might be legality complications, because when you launch a coin, you basically create a financial product and you need to be registered for that. You can't just launch that on your own. And if you do not complete the legalities around that project, well, worst case, you might end up in jail, which is obviously not the outcome we are looking for. Then sometimes launching a coin is not seen as a good thing, so it might hurt my reputation, which is obviously something I do not want either. Then another problem is that it is a one-time revenue. Once I sold my coins, I don't have them anymore, and I might have some cost to launch the coin, as I need to provide liquidity for people to trade the coin and for all the legalities around the coin. But the one positive thing is that if enough people buy it, there is a huge potential of gain. Donald Trump, for example, did that. He launched a coin, and I don't know if it's still true, but he made billions with that. Not millions, billions. So obviously that's on another scale, but this is what we can do with that model. Then the other idea I had in purely crypto is to do affiliation with exchanges. Basically, an exchange is a platform you can put your money on to then convert your money into crypto to trade crypto. And those platforms need people trading to generate revenue. And so to encourage people to get on their platform, they create affiliation programs. So creators can have an affiliation code, and so they can give their affiliation link to their audience. So that's when the audience registers on the platform through that link, they get advantages like fees cut or sometimes zero fees on the platform, because obviously to make money the platform takes fees every trade you take. And in exchange for the service, which is bringing people to the platform, they would pay me. And this is a very good way to make money. And I do not exclude that possibility if I make a video that fits the subject. So for example, if I make a video talking about specific exchanges, I can take a link and sell it that way. But even though this is a good model, this is not alright, because obviously when you play with money, there are legality complications. Now, it is not as bad as launching your coin, but you have to be clear with people and you cannot incentivize them to trade. You cannot incentivize them to engage in activities that might make them lose money. And this is not what we are trying to do, but you have to be clear about it, or you might have some problems. But on the other hand, it might bring us recurring revenue. There is no cost of production, which is amazing. It's super simple to implement. You just get a link and you give it to people, and it can easily fit in a video thematic, like I just told you, if I talk about exchanges, for example. So I do think I'm going to do that, but this is not going to be our main product. And the reason why is because I do not want to rely on another platform. If the exchange I send people to closes, well, first of all, I'll have deceived my viewers, and second of all, my revenue stream is gone. So definitely not a good idea to be reliant on another platform. And I guess this can be quite ironic because I'm already dependent on YouTube. But in the future, we are going to try to diversify our risk by spreading our content distribution to other platforms. Alright, so the next category is tools. So I had multiple ideas. The first one is a watch list of sound coins. So basically a list of cryptocurrencies I researched and thought had a bright future. And obviously this is a list I would update with time. The second idea I had is a coin ranking system. So basically it would be an application where you could type what your investing strategy is, and it would spit you out a ranking of coins that are better suited for your strategy. Alright, and the last idea is an investing journal app, and that's pretty self-explanatory. It's an app where you can document your investing journey to learn and not repeat your mistakes twice. Now, this is a pretty basic concept, so I'd have to improve it a little bit to make it a bit more complex, because this is a model someone could easily replicate. But I did not expand on this because I do not want to create a tool. And that is because here you can see it requires coding knowledge that I do not have. And I'd like to know how to code, but I don't, and that is something I still have to learn. I will in the future. Oh god, these videos really make me happy. Alright, another downside is that it requires extensive research. So it takes a lot of time to create a watch list of sound coins, because you have to research all of them, create a thesis for all of them, and it is the same for a coin ranking system. Creating an app like that would take a lot of time, especially since I do not know how to code, and so it might be complicated. Plus, there might be potential cost to launch. And remember, we are at 0.001% of our goal to 1 million, which means we made $1. Do I have money to spend on launching an app? No. So this is not the right way for us to make money. But let's continue. Alright, as I just said, it is time consuming to maintain. So not only it takes time to launch, but when it is launched, it still takes time because I need to update it. So not that great. But on the other side, apps can be automated. So it would be automatic revenue with no interaction, which is great because once it's done, then I could make money while I sleep. I would still need to update things, but I wouldn't be capped by the amount of people I can take. Alright, another great thing is that the task can be delegated. But obviously this costs money. It fits the subscription model, which is great because if we want recurring revenue, what is better than a subscription model? You can't do better than that. If you provide enough value for people to be loyal, then this is a game you can't lose. So I don't know why I wrote that, but we have a potential of recurring revenue, which is basically the same thing as fits the subscription models. Alright, so those are tools, and because I am not familiar with coding, I do not have the capability to launch that. But what I can do is educate people, which is what I'm already doing with my channel. So I had multiple ideas, and spoiler alert, one of them is one of my favorite picks. So, education. So, the first idea I had is a follow-up to my videos, specific and recurring content. So, basically, this is premium content. So people would pay a subscription to have exclusive videos. And the premium content would be a deep dive of the subject I already cover on my channel. So for example, my last video on the crypto channel is should you invest in Bitcoin or Bitcoin treasury companies? And so I introduce the subject and I talk about it on my channel. And in the paid subscription, you can actually get a clear sense of what you have to do. So that would be the promise. Now, the next two ideas are kind of the same thing. So the first one is an on-chain data mastery course, and the third one is a 3-hour long masterclass on how to avoid scam. And basically, I wrote ideas, but the core link between them is that it would be a course of a really long course, which gives a lot of value, but it would be a one-time pay and it would be high ticket. So what are the pros and cons of that category, which is education? So first of all, let's start with the cons, because let's keep the happy part for the end. So we stay happy, we end on a good note. So with that model, I would be heavily reliant on my channel's position. What do I mean by position? Well, I position myself as a knowledgeable person about crypto. But if people do not see it that way, and they do not see me as a person who knows a lot about crypto, they're not gonna buy. It's clearly cooked from the start. Alright, I just saw a big mistake I made on my presentation, so I'm going to change it now so that your eyes do not burn. Good, I would look really dumb if there are still mistakes. But anyways, in addition to be reliant on my channel's position, I am also reliant on my channel's performance. If I get no views on my channel, then it's dead. Then, because it is education, it requires extensive research, and I know a lot about crypto already, but because I need to make presentations, sometimes I need to research to make sure things are correct. I said here that it takes time to create, but truthfully, when it's created, it's done forever, so it's not really a problem. The problem is the time it takes to maintain it. So it would be a problem for the subscription model, because I would need to make a second video even longer than the video I made for my channel, and I simply do not have the time in a week to make one video for my channel and an extensive research, then create another video explaining everything in detail and clear so that people understand. I can't make an hour-long video plus a video for my crypto channel plus a video for the Dayso channel. This is not possible, but I don't know, I would do that if I can delegate some tasks, because this is something that looks really exciting to do. But if we manage to do it, the upside is that it is automatic revenue, just like the other category. Some tasks can be delegated, which is great. We absolutely need that if we use that model. There is low to no cost of production. This is if I do everything myself. There will be a cost to production if I delegate some tasks. This is the highest margins possible. I can sell at the price I want. And because I create things with my head and I put it on a video file, this is literally zero cost. So this is great. This is literally 100% margin. Our product can be pricey if there is a high perceived value. So this will be highly dependent on the content I create on my channel. I need to make sure people see me as a trustworthy person and a knowledgeable person about crypto. It fits the subscription model, as we already said, and there is a potential of having recurring revenue, which is great. Alright, if you stayed till now, I would like to think you actually like what you're seeing. Maybe you're getting some value. So if you want to return the favor, subscribe to my channel. If you like the journey, we're going from $0 to $1 million. We're gonna get there. Subscribe if you want to see it. You'll be able to say to your friends, I was there right at the start. I saw everything. So what are you waiting for? Alright, let's go back to strategizing our product, because we have a goal to reach. Alright, last category before we get into my favorite picks. And the last category is the one-on-ones. And for that, I had two ideas. One I am a huge fan of, and one not so much. But the first one is one-on-one call to get personal crypto education. And this is the idea I'm not so fan of, because it is just too broad and it is hard for me to automate that. But the second idea, which is the one-on-one crypto portfolio audit, which is basically personalized advice. Now, we are going to scrap the word advice of that product because I cannot give financial advice. I can only educate people. Do not put me in jail. And so basically what that genius idea is, I don't know if somebody already did, by the way, but basically people would get on a call with me, they would give me their portfolio, I would end the call to all the research of the cryptocurrencies they have in their portfolio, and then I would get back on a call with them and explain them the problems they could have with their portfolio and the coins that might go to zero because the fundamentals are not right, and the cryptocurrencies that might do well. And I really like to do that kind of work. So this is really something I want to launch. And this is obvious, but this is my favorite pick. Alright, so on the downside, it relies on me to be able to call, which is going to be hard to scale. But we can do it. It's not impossible, we can do it. You see, I really want to launch that idea. It requires extensive research, but once we have the money coming in, we can delegate it. But I won't, because it's a work I like to do. It is time consuming because it takes a lot of time. The research is something that takes a lot of time. And I need to create a platform to receive requests. And as you know, I am not good at coding. Well, it's not that I'm not good, I just don't know how to do it. But we don't really have to create our own platforms. We can use something like Discord or something else. So this is fine. And in the positives, I found that the research can be delegated, which is great. There is low to no cost of production, so 100% margin. Who does not want to have a product with 100% margin? This is amazing. So highest margins possible. Our product can be pricey if there is a high perceived value from our viewers, and it has a potential to create big money fast. Alright, now it is time to go on to my favorite picks. And those are the premium content, so the subscription model, which is a business to consumer product, the crypto portfolio audit, the thing I just talked about, and the marketing for crypto project, which is the business to business offer. And I put it there because even though I have some apprehensions about doing something like that, I would really enjoy doing that. And the best part is this is probably the thing that would generate the most money for us. Alright, here I have the full detail of our ideas. The first product is the premium content, which is basically a follow-up to our channel. We can see that the type of product is a not personalized, additional specific educational content, and it is designed to work on business to consumer mass market. So we need high volume for it to work. I had 3 ideas to how we could apply it. So basically 3 models. The first one is a monthly subscription, which gives full access to the library of content I would have. The second one is a higher price with access to single premium content. So basically people would pay a fixed price for one video. So they would have the video forever, but they would only have the video they paid for. So with that model, I could raise prices because people pay for one thing and they get it forever. And I guess maybe it is a better option because people would only pay for what they want or need. But I also like the subscription offer because it generates recurring revenue for me. Plus the subscription has the promise of giving people more value. Then I had a third idea, which was a hybrid solution. So I would have a library of available content, but that library would change. So basically, to explain it simply, I would have videos I create, let's say, in a month, and when they are old or I create a new video, the last one in the chain gets out of the library and it becomes a paid option. So people would have to pay it to have it if they did not buy the subscription. And so that would push people to buy a subscription, because if they did not pay the subscription while the video was cheaper thanks to the subscription model, they would have to pay more to get it after. Does that make sense? I think it does. And I think this is genius. So I think that's a model I could go with. But also, after making a lot of videos, the content that is old is never going to be bought because there is going to be an overwhelming amount of content. Alright, so what are the strengths of that product? Well, that product can be advertised in every video I post. Because this is basically a follow-up of the videos I post, this is perfect. The people who liked the video are going to want to dive deeper if they are interested enough in the subject. So my core audience is likely to buy as they usually follow me. If they want more content from me, this is the way to find it. It creates a library of content I can reuse after. So if I launch another product, another educational product, or basically if I want to take a video to post it on my channel to say, hey, look what I do in my subscription model. If you want it, you can pay it. It's $5 a month, for example. So I can reuse the videos as advertising for subscription. And I can delegate the research and the editing. Quite nice. That would save us a lot of time. But I guess there is also some weaknesses. So it takes an awful amount of time to produce if I do everything myself. And it requires a safe video hosting platform. And I guess this is going to create costs
for us. So because it is paid content, I want to gatekeep it. I do not want people to download it. I do not want people to share it. I do not want people to stream it to other people. And a platform that ensures us this does not happen might cost a bit of money. Or I can just do premium subscription on YouTube. That might work as well. But I do not know if there is a big market for it. People might see it as just another YouTube video, and this is not the image I want to give to people. Alright, this is great, this is the pros and cons, but this is the side that concerns me. We also need to see the side that concerns the viewer. Why would people buy our products? And as a bald man said, if you cannot make an extensive list of reasons why people would buy your product, this is not gonna work. So I'm just going to go quick through all of them and I will stop if needed. So first reason, the core audience wants to follow me. The second reason, the viewer perceives a big upside by taking the offer. Because the mission of my channel is to increase people's gains in crypto, then they might think that by paying a subscription, they might have enough content for them to increase their gains. So from a consumer perspective, this makes sense to buy it. The viewer is deeply interested in the content of the channel. The viewer sees it as an investment, so it justifies the price. I could actually use that as an argument for people to buy it. The viewer wants deeper understanding than YouTube can give. The viewer wants a sense of belonging. Now, this might be too far-fetched for you, but it makes sense because people who pay to get education on crypto, for example, might now identify themselves as better investors. Maybe that's a feeling they need, and so I would supply it with my product. The viewer wants a shortcut, because my content is basically doing all the research for them. The viewer wants to feel smart, and this is basically the same thing as the sense of belonging, but they want to feel smart. Alright, but realistically, what kind of money could we make with that? I created a little tab called revenue potential, and we can see that to me the revenue potential is moderate, but I also added another metric which is effort to revenue, and this metric shows us the effort we put in and the output we get. And to me, compared to the effort we are going to give, the results are going to be low or mid if we get high volume. Alright, second mistake, you did not see anything, and that is because our revenue is dependent on the channel's performance, therefore market cycles. So there is two effects here, which now that I think about it, makes it really unstable. So because we use the channel to attract people to our offer, we need people on our channel first. But the problem is because we talk about crypto and crypto has cycles, when crypto is down, it interests no one. So our channel will have low views, which will give us even less people to buy our product. So there are two effects. There is the performance of my channel and there is the affected performance of my channel because of the crypto market. Now, second reason is that if I use a subscription model, this is going to be low ticket. Basically, low ticket, for those who do not know, is an offer with a low price. So as I said, there is a bit of a contradiction because I would rely on high volume because I have a low price, but I post videos in a niche subject. So niche subject, not a lot of people. Product which requires a lot of people. That does not match. People might have a problem with the fact that my channel is small, and so they would give less trust to me and they wouldn't buy the product. People could believe that the premium content I propose is basically the same thing you could find for free on YouTube, which is not going to be the case, but if they do not know that, they are not going to buy. And they can fear that this is a scam, which truthfully is true for newcomers, but people who follow me regularly trust me enough to buy it. Alright, so this is for the first product. We saw in the description that there is a few problems, so we'll see if we use that product. And by the way, we still have two products to cover, but in the next video, we are actually going to create the product we're going to sell. This is getting real. I'm not kidding about the million. We are going to do it. Believe it or not. Alright, we arrived to the blue part, which is crypto portfolio audit. And the type of product is a personalized educational summary. And this is designed for business to consumer mass market. So it needs high volume. And the fact that it's personalized should already tell you that we are going to be able to put a higher price for that product. Alright, so like we just did for the previous product, what type of model can you have for that product? Alright, so the first model I was happy with is a one-time purchase, a full analysis of the portfolio of the person, plus a summary in a call. So this is pretty self-explanatory. I don't think I need to dive deeper into that. And the second model I found is also a one-time purchase, but it is a full analysis of the portfolio plus a full written summary. And I could charge more for that because the person gets a paper with my full research on it. So those are one-time purchases. So I would need to find more and more clients for it to give me recurring revenue. But truthfully, I could have the same clients pay for the service twice. So this is fine. Alright, moving on to the strengths and weaknesses. Alright, one great thing about that product is that I can advertise it in every video I post. And that is because it fits the mission perfectly. Remember, the mission of my channel is to increase people's crypto gains. And basically, they can pay me for me to analyze their portfolio for them to avoid making mistakes. This is literally on the mission. The product can be high ticket depending on the type of analysis. Obviously, the more complex the analysis, the more money I can get for it. Another great thing about it is that I can create a library of analysis I can reuse for other clients. So let's say if I analyze a cryptocurrency, I create a document with all my analysis on this, and the client comes to me for an analysis on the coin I already analyzed. Well, because I already analyzed it, this will save me a lot of time. So this is great. And obviously I can delegate the research, which is something I will do if I have too many requests, and obviously at the start it's going to be slow and I won't have any requests, so I might have to do it myself. Now the weaknesses, because even though I love this option, there are weaknesses. It takes a lot of time for each client, and so it is harder to automate. I'm going to have a hard time scaling. Another factor that will limit my growth is that only my audience trusts me to buy, so I won't be able to go beyond the audience of my YouTube channel. And if I use the option of calling, well, I only have so much time in a day. So if I have too many requests, I won't be able to take all of them. And so in that case, I would either have to raise the prices or leave people on the site. And the biggest downside of them all is that I have to spend effort framing it in a way that is not financial advice. And this is quite of a gray zone because I help people increasing their gains and avoiding mistakes, but I cannot give financial advice because you need a license for that. And I don't have it. So what you can do is educate people. But what is the line between giving advice and educating? And obviously I do not want to go to prison, so I can do it, but I am going to have to find a way to do it in a way that is not financial advice. I just modified my slide again, but that's fine. So why would people buy the product? Well, people could buy the product if they desire my expertise on the subject. So it's really going to be a work of reputation with my channel. And basically, if I want to sell a product, that's what it all comes down to. People have to trust me. So another reason is that the viewer may be unsure of the choices he made or he will make. So he wants someone else's opinion. The viewer wants to avoid mistakes that cost money. The viewer sees the analysis as an investment. The viewer might want a shortcut. They delegate the analysis task because they lack time or they simply do not have the skills to do it. The viewer might seek confirmation to act, or he wants a clear thesis on why his portfolio would or wouldn't perform. Alright, I think that's reason enough for our product to work, but how much could we make from that? Alright, same tab I used above. Revenue potential, I still think it's moderate, and I am going to explain why in a second. Effort to revenue though, we improved it because it was low to mid with the other product, and here we are in just mid, or low when it takes off. But that's just because if it takes off and there are too many people, I'm going to have to spend money on delegating tasks, and this is going to take money out of my pocket. Alright, so why do I think that? Well, the product is still dependent on my channel's performance, therefore the market cycles, as I just explained for the other product. It can be a low to mid ticket offer, like $150 to $350. I could go higher than that, but this is the price to start. There might be a low audience trust because my channel is small, but this is going to be a problem we are going to have for all the products we are going to launch. So once again, this is going to be reputation management. So once again, this is going to be a work on how people perceive me. The positioning. People have to see me as a knowledgeable person about crypto. I feel like I said it 1,000 times already, but that's fine, that's true, so I'm going to repeat it again. Another problem we could have is that it might be perceived that easy work anybody can do, and so this is going to reduce the perceived value of my offer. People are going to be willing to pay less because they think they can do it themselves, when truthfully, this is a real skill. It's just that people might not know how deep I am going to go in my analysis, and obviously they might fear scams or a bad work, but that can easily be countered by testimonies, so that might not be that big of a problem, or so I think. Alright, last product, and this is the marketing for crypto projects. And truthfully, this does not really fit a product I could advertise on my channel, because this targets businesses and I create content for individuals. So there's a bit of a contradiction here. So I don't think this product is going to be optimal to advertise on my channel. What I could do on the other hand is sell that service to companies or projects, but do it outside of my YouTube channel. I could even use my YouTube channel to show that I know what I'm talking about. So, marketing for crypto projects. Type of product. This is a personalized strategy and operation management. So this is a business to business, low volume, big pay product. For this one, I have three types of model. A one-time purchase, a full marketing strategy based on the crypto market needs. So I would analyze the crypto market, see what people want and is missing in the market, and help them create their offer based on that. The second model would give me a recurrent pay. And this is quite similar. It is a full marketing strategy based on crypto market needs, but in addition, I would do the management of the communication. So I would still stay in contact with the product and work with them to manage their communication. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. And the third model is to be paid based on results. So it would be exactly the same model as I just said. So a full marketing strategy based on crypto market needs. In addition to that, the management of the communication, but I would be paid based on the results the project has. So if I do a good job, I'm paid well. And if my work is not good, I do not get paid, which I guess is fair. But I would actually need to trust the founders to pay me when the project actually works, which I cannot guarantee. So I might not be the biggest fan of that option, even though the potential of gains is way higher on this one. Alright, what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses? So this is a high ticket service, and basically my work is going to be the backbone of their project. Because crypto works a lot on narrative and you need hype to make your project work, well, if they pay me to do that work, they are going to rely on me for their project to work, because I am going to be a big factor on that. Another strength is that if I manage their communication, I might have business from the same clients for months, which is great because obviously we want recurring revenue. And if needed, I can delegate the research of the market analysis, understanding what the market needs at the moment. Now, what are the weaknesses? Because there are quite a few. And by the way, if you hear my tone of voice lowering over time, it's just because it's getting late and I cannot scream in my house. Alright, so the first weakness is that it is hard to advertise on my channel, but I already discussed it. So moving on to the second weakness, which is hard to automate the process. And I guess maybe it is because I didn't do it yet, so I do not fully grasp what I could delegate and what I couldn't, but I don't think in the end I'm going to be able to delegate a lot of things. So this is a model that is going to be hard to scale anyway, but not impossible. There are companies whose sole business is to do just that, research the market and do the whole marketing for companies. Now, it might be hard to scale because if I have a lot of clients, there might be conflicts of interest. Basically, I would help the client get the best position on the market. But if I have too many clients, I can't put them on a pedestal all at once. There can only be one first place. So if I'm working for a client and we're doing good, and then I get another client that is trying to compete with the first client I have, I'm not going to sabotage my initial client. But so this is something to address when it really worked. It's not gonna happen now, but this is something to keep in mind. And obviously, because it is linked to manual work, it's going to be hard to scale. But we already touched on that. And one of the weaknesses, and I guess it can be a strength as well, is that I am liable for the project's success. So this is going to be high pay, but high pressure. Now, why would founders take my offer? Well, this is fairly simple. At first, it's not going to be the case, but once I made a name for myself, founders might desire my expertise on the subject. Founders might be inexperienced and so unsure of the choices they made or will make. Founders might not have time to figure out content strategy, because if you're going to communicate with an audience, you need a strategy to post content. And I also do that, but if you want to do it well, it takes time. And founders might have other things to do. They're busy, you know? Now next, it can be weird, but it can happen that founders can't find a good narrative for their project, and I could find it for them. And lastly, founders could lack the knowledge on what makes a project or a coin succeed. But that's what I'm studying, so I could help them as well with that. Okay, but I said it is B2B, so we can get paid more. How much? How much are we going to make with that project? Alright, so with everything we said, the revenue potential is high, and the effort to revenue potential is mid to high, depending on the project. Some project might pay more, some project might pay less. So this is really going to be a mid to high ticket offer. Obviously, with the time it's going to take and the dedication it requires, I'm not going to do that for $400. So we could price it between $500 for a small project to $10,000 if this is really something big. We could get paid more because there is less payment friction with crypto, technically and psychologically. Let me explain that. So basically, sending money with crypto is very easy. You take the other person's address, take your address, and you send your coins to the address of the person. Very easy, it can be done in minutes. And there is less friction psychologically because oftentimes people who are in crypto are used to deal with large numbers, so it might not scare them to send something like $5,000. Now, another reason why they might be tempted to pay a lot is that the service I propose is perceived as a key element for success. The marketing is basically everything. If you do not have a good marketing, your project is not going to work. So basically, if they take my offer, they would need me for them to succeed. And once they realize that, I can put the price I want. But one thing that might slow the process down is that they might fear that I might scam them or that I do a bad work. And that fear might be amplified with the amount they're gonna spend. Obviously, the client is going to be way more risk averse if he's gonna spend $5,000 than if he's just spending lunch money.
In the next video, we are going to actually work and create the product we chose. What product did we choose? You're going to see in the next video. So make sure you subscribe. Remember, the goal is to go from $0 to $1 million, and this is exciting. So I will see you in the next one.